All right, so guys, right now we're on question number 32. Right now, if you take a look at this, we have a vertical line. Anytime you guys see a vertical line, you know it's going to be x equals a specific number. All right, so right now, what is the x value, not the y value, what's the x value right there? What's the x value? 6, very good. Okay, what about right here? What's the x value? Same number, right? X is 6 here, X is 6 here. Now, if you didn't know that you could do this, I want to make sure everybody knows that you can do this. You can literally type in X equals 6. You can also type in Y equals 6. Now, what's the difference between an X equals 6 and a Y equals 6? X equals 6, the slope is called undefined. And Y equals 6, the slope now is equal to 0. Now, what's a zero slope? We'll all get there sometime. We call it a flat line. All right, your heartbeat will eventually be flat. It'll be in perfect equilibrium, which means you will no longer be on this planet. Okay? So think of it this way. Right? That's a zero slope. All right? Remember, positive slope goes up, negative slope goes down. Vertical, that's undefined. This is 0. Okay? So if we look at our problem, what's it ask us? What equation? So what equation matches that? Definitely what? X equals 6, but when it's vertical, what's the slope always going to be? Undefined. This was a gimme. Okay? Now, a y equals 6, what I'd like you to do on your paper, can you please put a line going horizontally? Draw it. Put this is y equals 6, and that has a slope that's 0. That's the other concept. I've seen them ask questions about y equals as well as x equals. Just make sure you know the difference between an x equals and a y equals. So just draw that across. And that's all you got to do. So the answer was answer choice J. All right. So we're going to highlight different things. All right. But before we highlight different things, I want us to write down our exponential function. Our exponential function is a times b to the power of x. I think this is like our third question that we've done so far dealing with exponential functions. So this is kind of just practice. A, once again, is your initial value, and b is what's called a growth or a decay factor. Just remember, if b is greater than 1, we call it growth. If b is less than 1 but greater than 0, that means it's going down. It's decaying. That's our decay factor. So right now it says, in the year 1900, the total number of metric tons of copper produced in the world was this. So that's our initial value. So right now, if we were to build this function, we would put, and I'll put c of x instead of y equals, I'll put c of x. And we're starting off with 495,000. It says each year since 1900, the total number of metric tons of copper produced has, next word, increased by 3.5% over the previous year. Which function models the total number of metric tons of copper produced in the year that is X years since 1900? So just remember, X represents the years. So X represents the years. Now, understand, you guys, we need to understand what an increase of percentage does, okay? So if we're increasing it 3.25%, what does that mean? That means we're adding it to what's already there. What do we already have? We already have 100% of what's being produced. And what are we increasing it by? 3.25%. So how much is our percentage when we add it to 100? By the way, you're either adding it to 100 or you're taking it away from 100%. So if it was decreasing, we would take it away. But we're adding it to it. So how much? What's our new percentage? 103.25%. Now, if you guys don't know how to change percentage to a decimal, here's all you have to do. Whatever the percentage is, all you got to do is just divide it by 100%, and that gives you the decimal 1.0325. This is your B value. So I'm going to put parentheses 1.0325, close parentheses, and we're raising that to the power of x. This is your function. That's why the answer was answer choice A. I want you to understand this right here, this was an increase in 3.25%. If this was an increase in 3.25%, what do you guys think this one is? That's a decrease. So guys, I could literally give you guys the same words and just change one word, and it would change it from A to B. If I said the copper produced each year had a decrease on an, I could use the exact same question, just change the word. Now I go from A to B without having to like retype the whole question. All right. So just understand you're either doing what? Taking 100 and adding the percentage, which was 3.25 to get this, or you were taking 100 and subtracting the 3.25 if it was a decrease. Now, what's the decimal that goes with that? You'd have to divide it by 100, and that gives you your decimal. All right, I'm trying to make it as easy as I can. Just remember, this right here, this number represents the B value. This number represents the A value. Okay? Hopefully that was good enough explanation for y'all. All right. Now this one actually is much faster to do by hand than it is to do in Desmos. I know because if you know how to do it by hand, trust me, it's faster. But we're going to do it both ways. All right? There we go. So go and write that down just like that. Okay? First thing we're going to do is we're just going to distribute the 3 right there. 3 times 14 is 42. 3 times 9 is 27. It's much faster, just so you know. What are we going to isolate? We're going to isolate the variable. So you guys see how we have 34 x's here and 42 there? We're just going to take away 34x on this side. Take away, that's a 34. I know it doesn't look like 34, minus 34. All right, but take that away. It looks like we get 8x. Take away a 27. Take away a 27. All right, you can use a calculator if you want. All right, borrow that. It's 8. Makes that a 8 there, so we have 68. All right, and then we just divide both sides by 8. Okay, so all you got to do is just do 68 divided by 8, and what do you get? 8.5. That's your answer. So x was equal to 8.5. That would be the answer that you would bubble in. Okay. All right, so here's how we would do it in Desmos right now. What I want you guys to do is I'm going to delete this, delete this. Was it 34x plus, was it 95? 95. And then this one was it 3 parentheses or was it 14? What was it? 14, 14x plus what? Plus 9? Okay. So if we have these, understand we're going to have to zoom out and try to find where they touch. Oh wait, as soon as I hit the line, right? As soon as I hit the line, what did you guys see pop up? That little dot. So that's what you would have to do. You have to put this one in one slot, this one in the other, and then you see where the two lines cross. Now the answer, guys, the answer is always the x. You're solving for the x value because they share the same y value. So you have to put them in 2 different slots. Notice I did not put equals. It will not work if you put in equal sign there. Notice everything got what? Taken away. So you can't put an equal sign. All right, moving on. So guys, right here, I want you guys to put f of x equals x. This is what's called the parent function of all linear functions. It just means y equals x. I know it's y equals x because it goes up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and it keeps going up 1 and over 1. What's happened with the new line? Has the new line, they share the same what? They share the origin. What's the only difference between the old line and the new line? This one goes up 1 and over how much? 3. Up 1 and over 3. So all I want you guys to do on your paper is just do the up 1 and over 3. That's the slope. So the new slope, if I say what's the graph of g, what's the slope of g? 1/3. That's why the answer is B. That's it. Okay? Now, you're like, well, how could I use Desmos? Well, Desmos will work if and only if you know that f of x is equal to x. So here's what I want you to do. Check this out. Let's go over here. In Desmos, type in f of x equals x, please. Just type it in. I dare you. All right, f parentheses x equals x. And then I'm going to put g of x equals 1 divided by 3 times f of x. And hit home. Can you guys see how this still is going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and this one goes up 1 and over how much? 3. So if you can't visualize that, hopefully you can still see that our original line went up 1 and, well, x goes up 2 over 2, same thing. But this goes up 1 block and over 3 blocks. Okay? So that's why the answer is B. Look what happens if I put f of x minus 4. Ready? Look what happens when I do that. If I put minus 4. If I put plus 2. What kind of lines are these? These are parallel lines. Okay? And what was the last answer choice? 3 times f of x? Look what 3 times f of x looks like. It's steeper. So what does this slope have? This has a slope of 3, but what was the answer that we wanted? We wanted a slope of what? 1/3. Okay? So this just shifts it down, this shifts it down, this changes the slope, and that's the slope that we were looking for. That's why it was answer choice B. All right, hopefully that was good enough explanation. Ooh, this will be fun. All right, guys, here we go. Here's what I want you to do. On this one, I want you guys to create a rectangle. And I want you to create another rectangle. And then I want you to break it into there we go. That's what I want you to do. Make that picture, all right, on your paper. And right now, I want you to make this h squared, make this 9h, make this -1. And over here, I want you to make this -4h and make a 3 right there. All right, here we go. What's -4h times h squared? That's -4h cubed. Now, if you don't know, it says h to the power of 1. And when you multiply exponents, you get to add them together. All right? So 9 times -4 is -36, and h times h is h squared. And -1 times a -4 is a +4, but what's sitting right next to that 4? An h. 3 times h squared is 3h squared. 9 times 3 is 27, but there's an h stuck next to it, so we got to hold on to it. We got -1 times 3 is -3. There we go. Now we have everything multiplied into its little boxes, all right? Now we just have to look for like terms. So check this out. Would you guys agree that this term and this term could be added together? And the 4h and the 27h could be added together. All right, so here's our final answer. Negative 4h cubed. Negative 36 plus 3 is negative 33h squared. 27 plus 4 is 31 minus 3. And it looks like our answer is answer choice F. And that's how you would do it by hand. How would you do it in Desmos? Here's how you do it in Desmos. You change all of your h's in terms of x. All right, so we take all of our h's and we turn it into terms of x, and here's what you would do. You would literally type it in. So help me out here. When I say help me out, there we go. Got x squared plus 9x plus 1. So type in x squared plus 9x. Is it plus 1 or minus 1? Plus 1? Okay. Minus 1? Okay. And then we have, so it negative 4x. And was it plus, is it plus 3? Like that? Okay, so there's our graph. Now, what was our final answer? It was negative 4. But we're not going to put h. We're going to put x to the power of 3. What was the next one after that? Negative 33. Okay, so negative 33x squared. Then what do we? Oh, then we got plus 31x minus 3. Okay, plus 31x minus 3. And what do you guys notice about the blue and the green graph? They match perfectly. So what does Desmos graph in terms of? It graphs in terms of x. So if you don't see an x, change it in terms of x, and you could type them in and match it up. Okay? Now, what do I want you to know how to do? I'd like you to know how to do this, all right? But how could you check your answer and make sure you got it right on a state-mandated test? You can type it right there. All right. Oh, cool. We don't even have to solve it. All we got to do is just set it up. Okay? Now, we're going to solve it in case you needed to solve it, but we're just going to use the calculator, okay? So right now, we have 15 plates in a kitchen cabinet, all right? So there's, how many total plates are there? 15. Now, the diameter of each plate is either 7 inches or it's 12 inches. And the diameter of all 15 plates combined to 140 inches. So we have two types of plates. The 7-inch plates, just circle this. The 7-inch plates are represented by X. The number of 12-inch plates are equal Y. So you don't have to write it down. They already told you what X equals and Y equals. So I have a certain amount of 7-inch plates, and I have a certain amount of 12-inch plates. And how many total plates do I have? 15. So right here, put X. That's your 7-inchers. This is your 12-inchers, and this represents what's called the total plates. That's all I want you to write down on your paper. That's the 7-inch plates. That's the 12-inch plates. They add up to a total of 15 total plates. Now, if I take 7 and I multiply it by X, this goes with the 7-inch, and you got 15 times Y. What was the combined inches? What was the total, not the total plates, but the total inches? That was 140. So that's what I'm looking for. X plus Y equals 15. All right. Oh, not 15-inch plates, sorry. 12-inch plates. I messed up right there. They're not 15-inch plates, they're 12-inch plates. My apologies. There we go. So I'm looking for that, and I'm also looking for this. Because 7-inch goes with the 7-inch plates, 12-inch goes with the 12-inch plates, and there's the total inches, so that's my answer. Now, how would if we wanted to solve this, if we wanted to figure out how many plates X and Y equaled, all we'd have to do is go to our simultaneous equation solver. So see if you guys remember the steps. We go here. What am I going to click? apps, very good. What am I going to go down to? Whatever, that polynomial simultaneous. So mine's 9, yours is number 8. We go down to number 2. We have 2 equations and 2 unknowns. So I'm going to hit next. I'm going to hit 1, enter, 1, enter. And what number am I going to type in there? A 15. And then we had a 7. We had a 12. And then we had 140. We make it right there. It's beautiful. It says solve. You hit graph and ta-da. You got what? 8 and 7. All right. So I'm just trying to make it easy for you guys. All right. We got 8 and 7. That would be the answer. That's how many 7-inch plates are. That's how many 12-inch plates there are. All right. So you just got to make sure you guys know how to go to where the simultaneous equation solver. Okay. Sweet. Done with that one. But you didn't have to solve it. You just had to set it up. Okay. This one is not going to be hard, guys. This is all I want you to do. Ready? Domain. It's a parabola. The domain of a parabola is always all real numbers. It goes forever to the left and forever to the right. Okay? Now, if I want to talk, actually a more difficult question, all right, would not be the domain. The more difficult question would be what's the range of the function? So we're going to focus on teaching you the range. If you see a parabola and they ask you for the domain, can you guys see how technically it goes forever to the left and forever to the right? Every single parabola goes forever in both directions. That's why it's all real numbers. But where does it bottom out? What's the lowest point that it hits right there? About what? What would you guys say? Yeah, negative what? Negative 5.5. So the range, guys, would be y is greater than or equal to negative 5.5. That's the range. So if I wanted to, what I could do, guys, is I could change this number to range and then put a negative in front of this. So if you want to put a negative in front of that, then that would be the range if there was a negative in front of that 5.5. All right? So really, there's only one reasonable answer on this one. Done. Okay, guys. When you guys read this problem, it says, what is the equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through this point and is perpendicular? Now, I'm not going to write the word perpendicular. I'm going to make a little upside down T. This is the symbol for perpendicular. All right. And does everybody see this slope right here? That's the M value. Does anybody remember what perpendicular, this is the symbol for perpendicular, slopes are always equal to? Yep, it's a 90-degree angle, but the slopes are always negative reciprocals. Okay? The slopes are always negative reciprocals. You're like, what the heck is a negative reciprocal? I'm about to show you. 2 over 5 is perpendicular to a negative 5 over 2. A negative reciprocal means if this is positive, all right, if this is positive, this is now negative, all right? And a reciprocal, it means if it's 2 over 5, it's now 5 over 2. That's what a negative reciprocal means. So automatically, which answers could I totally eliminate? The first 2. So now we have what? These 2. Okay? So all we got to do is, check this out. That says X. That is Y. One of these has this point on it. All right? So, right now, who here got this question right? Anybody? Nobody knows if they got it right or not? Okay, well, here we go. Let's go to Desmos real quick. All right, help me out with the first equation. I know it's y equals negative 5 divided by 2. X, was it plus 3 or minus 3 on the first one? Minus 3? Okay, minus 3. Make a little, hit the little settings or the gear, right? Where it says make a table. I'm looking for what ordered pair? 2, negative 2. Ah, what's that? 2 goes with a what? Negative 8. Now watch this. I'm going to take that right there, hit plus. Does everybody see the 2, -2 right there? And that went with the what? The plus 3. So what does that mean? That means this is our answer. If I were to make a table, this is the proof. If I plug in a 2 right here, that becomes -5 plus 3, which is a -2. That's why the answer is answer choice D. What's the first thing you need to know? Negative reciprocal. Now, the other thing they might ask you guys is about parallel lines. So write this one thing down. Parallel lines have the same what? Parallel lines have the same what? Same slope. So put parallel lines have the same slope. That's the other part that you need to write down. Okay? Perpendicular lines, their slopes are negative reciprocals. Parallel lines have what's called the same slope. So you need to know that this only works if the lines form 90-degree angles. Okay. All right. Moving on. All right, guys. This is pretty easy. All right. Just gotta play the matching game. All right. So all I gotta do is take a look at this. All right. And there are some certain points we can figure out. What's that point right there? 1 and a what? 1 and a 5. What's this point right here? 1 and a 10. What's this point right here? 1 and a 20. And what's this point right here? Another what? 1 and a 10. Okay? Now, if it's 1 and a 10, then we got to do another point. What is this point right there? 220. And what's this point right about here? 250. Okay? So what we're going to do is just go to Desmos. All right? This won't take long at all. Just put y equals, was it 2 open parentheses or 5 open parentheses? 2 open parentheses, and then there was a 5, and then we squared it. So make a table. Oh, I messed up here. It's supposed to be an x right there. Okay, there we go. All right, so look at your table, guys. It says a what? A 1 and a 10 and a 2 and a what? 50. 1 and a 10 and a 2 and a 50. 1 and a 10, 2 and a 50. There's your answer. So all you had to do was literally do what? Type it in and match the graph. All right. So your table. Just make sure you put here on your paper. Make the table. We had a 1 and a 10 and a 2 and a 50, and that's how you match it. All we're doing is taking the numbers and plugging it in right there. 1 and a 10, 2 and a 50. We're looking for two numbers, guys. We're looking for two numbers that add up to 6 and two numbers that multiply together that equal -112. So could you guys put blank plus blank equals 6, blank times blank equals -112. I'm going to show you a cool little shortcut you can do in the calculator to help you find all your factors. All right, so right now what we're going to do is we're going to find all the factors of 112. So if you would please, after you do blank plus blank equals 6, blank times blank equals -112, we're going to show you guys how to find all the factors. Get your graphing calculators. Right now, hit the y equals button. If you would please, hit the y equals button. We're going to do 112 divided by x. 112 divided by x. And then all we're going to do, once you do 112, you're like, what did you do? Hold on. You hit what? Y equals, type it in. Then we're going to look at the tables. Hit second and hit the graph and look at the table. Now I'm going to highlight all of our factors here. All right. These are factors. 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 Which ones are the only ones I'm highlighting? The ones that don't have decimals, all right? Those the ones that don't have decimals. So we got 1 and 112, 2, 56, 4, 28, 7, 16, 8, and 14. So please write these on your paper right now. 1, 112, 2, 56, 4, 28, 7, 16, 8, 14. Won't take that long. All right. Oops, sorry. So we go 1, 112. Then we had what? 2, 56. 4 and 28. All right. We had what? 7 and 16, right? And last but not least, 8 and 14. 8 and 14. Of these suspects, we got to bring 2 of them to jail. All right? Only there's one guilty party and the rest are innocent. What's the only one that could get us to a 6? If you add them together, what's the only one that could somehow get us to a 6? The 14 and the 8. How? If the 14 is positive and the 8 is negative. 14 minus 8 is 6. And 14 minus 8 is negative 112. So put W plus 14 and W minus 8. So what could be the numbers that make this equal to 0? One of the numbers is negative 14. One of the numbers is 8. All right? So which one would make the most sense? A width of negative 14 feet or 8 feet? What would make the most sense? A rectangle that has negative 14 feet or 8 feet? 8 feet. That's why the answer is 8. You're like, oh, ain't no way I'm going to remember how to do all this. Now, could you take this right here and type it into Desmos, except change it? You know what? I'm going to type it in W, see if W works. I don't think it will, but we'll see if it works. All right. I'm going to change it to x squared plus 6x minus 112. Just don't put an equal sign. Okay? Make sure you're staying up with me, because remember, this is going to impact your grade in either a positive way or a negative way. So here we go. I'm going to delete this guy. I don't think W squared will work, but I'm going to try it anyways, okay? W squared? Nope. Automatically it says what? Doesn't work. Now, the only thing I could probably do is if I said f of W. If I made it a function and I put f of W equal that. Okay, so if I made it a function notation, I said f of W, it would work. But probably the easiest thing for you guys to do is just change it from W to what? X. But x squared, was it plus 6x and minus 112? Notice, if I put an equal sign, look what happens. If I put an equals, disappears. So don't put an equal sign. Hey, look, what was one of the roots? Negative 14. What was the other root? 8. All right? Why don't we choose the negative 14? Because that's a ridiculous answer. Can't have negative 14 feet. So that's why the answer was 8. Notice we're doing it by hand, but we're also showing you guys. So here's what I want you guys to do on this one. We're not going to take a lot of time on this one. All I want you guys to do is write the words. This is it. Rate of change. And what word are you going to put above rate of change? Slope. Put slope. Okay? So we're not going to write down all the points, okay? I just want you guys to put 0, 32, 1, 39. 0, 32, 1, 39. What's the gap in my y's? What's the change in y? 7. What's the change in x? 1. What's your slope always equal to? The change in the y over the change in the x. So 7 over 1, which is 7. And that was your answer for this one. Just the number 7. That was the slope, the change in the y over the change in the x. Now, in a linear function, you only need 2 points to find the slope. Okay? You only need 2. You don't need all of them. You only need 2 of them. Okay? So, could you do y1 tilde mx1 plus b and put that table in? Yeah, so I'm going to do it really quickly just to make sure you guys know. I wouldn't do this for this one because it's too easy, all right? But you could if if you got stuck, all you have to do here is do what? Make a table, put a 0 and a 32, and then a what? 1 and 39, and then you do the y1 tilde m, I missed the tilde button, tilde m x1 plus b. That's the phrase that pays. And right now, what does it always give you? It gives you this m value, which is the slope. So you got to know how to use what? Use the phrase that pays. Right here, make a table, type it in, that gives you your slope. And that's the last problem we're going to do today. All right, so I'll upload this, put this online. All right, and we will finish this. We have one more day of this and we're done. Then we're moving on and we're going to get you guys going and finishing our quadratics. Have a good day.